Hello and welcome. It's really great to see you all people here today, early morning after the last night party. So appreciate you being here. Thanks for that. Today, I'm going to be your guide on a journey through time and space. My name is Vadim Fedorov, and I will also call on stage Elizabeth Amarel, who's the product manager for the PI Integrator for Esri ArcGIS, so she can, give us some more details on the product later on. So we are ready to start, and I want just to give you a couple of insights where we started, why we created this product, and what was driving us. So in OSIsoft, we strongly believe that people with data can transform their world, and having right tools at your hands will help you to reveal the insights, to improve your processes, and eventually get the business value from that. And we think that actually bringing this data in context with geospatial data will magnify this benefit. So you will also probably want to see different kinds of the sources from the different sources of the data on the same application. And we think this is the value we can bring to you with the integrator. That's why we started it. And we actually were not the first who started this integration, because we were actually influenced by you, our customers, who started this integration before us. And you've been using different, developer technologies, PI developer technologies, ArcGIS APIs, all this kind of stuff, and it required a lot of knowledge, in-depth knowledge of PI system and ArcGIS. So it was pretty hard to develop and really expensive to maintain. So that's why we think we bring a lot of value with this product. So I just want to highlight three goals, or should I say sectors here, which drove us while creating this product. So we want you to be able to leverage space and time data together. And one big major case is situational awareness. Is not only when you want to see the performance of your assets, but also see these assets on the map, so provide some geospatial context. You probably want to have some other sources integrated to, some sources of data integrated to this application, like terrain data, weather data, video imagery, and so on and so forth. So this is when your engineers will start to, start to make better data-driven decisions and get a real benefit from it. But GIS is not only about the maps. It is also, there is a kind of big layer of real-time spatial analytics. And this is kind of analytics which you're not able to do without any geospatial context. I'll give you one simple example. I need to calculate the area, or should I say, I need to draw an area of potential noxious gas emissions from my plant. This is kind of real example from one refinery. And I want to know if this unlikely event will hit the neighboring residential area or the school or the hospital. So I want to know this in real time. I want to get a notice ahead of time so I can actually go and maybe evacuate these people, just give them a notice. So what kind of data I need for that? So first of all, of course, I need to know about my gas. So this data comes from the pipes, from the SCADA system probably, like the gas flow, the pressures, and that kind of stuff. And of course, I need to know about the environment. So I need to know where the wind is blowing, the wind speed, possibly humidity. And of course, I need to know about my terrain. So is there any lake or mountain is there are any buildings in front of, between my plant and the residential area. And of course, I want to know what's the distance actually between this area and my plant. So I want to have these all data sources combined into one piece, and I want these to be calculated for me in real time. So this is about spatial analytics, and I hope you guys get a better insight of the benefit having space and time together. So the second goal for us was to provide an out-of-the-box service, a self-service solution without any custom code or developer technologies. It should require minimal configuration, minimal to no maintenance and administration. And this is our major goal, and we want you just to go and do, to solve your business tasks, not spending your time on, getting all the data together just to have the report. So the third one is to bring together ArcGIS and PI System experts. So the product doesn't require you to know much, a lot about the PI System. Neither it requires you to know, in-depth GIS. You just need to know you just need to have minimal knowledge of both systems, and you're able to use it straight away. And with the number of our customers growing, and after a couple of years using the integrator, we actually realized that there is a synergetic effect on having all these people the capability to share the data in the easier way. So when their users realizing that they can share this data really easy, that the magic happens, like many projects which you never expected, they just start to appear. So these are the three things which drove us to what we have now. And now I want to switch gears a bit and talk about the present, what our current users, where our current users find the value. But before I do that, I just want you to see how the integration works from under the hood. I have a quick demo, video here, but before I roll it, I just want to explain to you a bit of the mechanics that happens behind. So this is the integrator UI, web-based, and what it does, it will create a feature layer in ArcGIS for you, and it will populate this feature layer with the elements from AF. And then there is another component from Esri, which is called GeoEvent Server, and it will get all the real-time attributes from AF, from the PI system, basically, all the tags, and it will update this feature layer in ArcGIS with all this data periodically. So let me show you how it works. So first of all, we are dealing with the wells. So I'm going to create a layer. I'm going to give it a name and description. So we are dealing with wells, so it's Belcorp and wells operated by Belcorp. We have several steps here. Step 1 was the name. Step 2 is just connecting to AF, selecting a proper database and the template. The template is already pre-selected, Cat Canyon template. And I'm going to browse all the wells I have and select the subset of them. So I don't need them all. And then the third step is just choosing the right attributes I want to get to ArcGIS, mapping some of them to X and Y coordinates if we have coordinates, and getting the unique key. And that's it. Now we are creating the layer, and we need to publish that. So we can publish either to ArcGIS Online or portal. We just need to give the credentials to the system, and it will create a feature service for us. So we are going with all defaults. You don't need to change anything. Then the third step will be the configure GeoEvent extension. Well, actually, it's now called GeoEvent Server. And it will create these, real-time mechanics for you. Just go with defaults, click next, and then finish. So that's it. And now we can go and visualize this layer on the map. So I'm going to ArcGIS Online and find this layer, bring it on the map, and yeah, enjoy the results. So there is a layer. We can zoom to it a bit. And here are all my wells, like, I don't know, 40 of them. And I can bring up a pop-up on each wells and see that there is all the data, including static data and real-time data, which is by default now updated every 5 seconds. So, I mean, isn't that easy? Every time, I've been watching this video for maybe 100 times, and every time I watch it, I'm still amazed how can you, in 2 minutes and 20 clicks, make these big systems talk to each other. So I think that's why our customers getting a great value from this integration. So I'm going to share with you a couple of great use cases. First of them is Noble Energy, and this is oil and gas company based out of Houston, Texas. Hope this guy are fine now. So they've been concentrating on improving the efficiency and situational awareness for their upstream operations. And what is notable about Noble is they didn't have any standard visualization tool where they could see all their assets, like thousands of onshore and offshore assets on one tool. So this actually hindered their operators' ability to react on weather events or different incidents or route the personnel to these incidents. So after the integration, they created the standard visualization tool, and it's here on the right on the picture. So you can see all the wells, all the pipelines, all the roads are there. You can view any remote asset status from there. You can see the production rates in real time. They've integrated that with weather data, and everything is there at one tool. So they've got this kind of overwhelming situational awareness for their engineers. So this is kind of the same map, but it doesn't have this satellite background. And it is rendered in the product which is called Operations Dashboard. This is Esri product, and it deals with the widgets. So in the center, you can see the map widget. On the left, you've got the legend widget. And on the right, there is a kind of list of wells which are sorted or filtered by different parameters. And of course, you can go and select any of the wells or any of the pipelines and get the historical data down in the bottom. There is a core site widget. So these guys are still, I'm not sure now, but they've been using core site at these times where then they gave these screenshots to us. So yeah, you can have the historical context as well as the current situation. So these actually help them to achieve their goals for getting better situational awareness. And one notable fact about this company, they were able to replace 35,000 of their process book displays with one map. Can you think of operator dealing with 35,000 process book displays, each one having a static map and some parameters rendered on that? So just one map helped them to get rid of that. So I think it's a great example. The second use case I've got for you today is White House Utility District. This is water and sewer utility in the state of Tennessee. So they focus on reducing water losses and optimizing manual process for monitoring leaks. History, of this customer is also interesting because they've been ArcGIS user for many years, and before the integration, they actually sent the field service people to the field to find the leaks. And these guys just went to the field with the microphones, and they were looking for leaks. So you can imagine how slow and tedious process was. And after integrating two systems, they actually implemented PI System and then integrated it with ArcGIS. So they went to something which is called GIS-centric water loss management. And yeah, they automated all the KPI calculations and data updates to ArcGIS. I will show you in more detail how it works for them. And well, actually, they just split their area into smaller areas. And for each of the area, which is called district meter area, they're calculating KPIs, and now they can focus on the bad ones, the ones that need improvement. So, of course, for each of the zone or the meters, flow meters, they are able to access the historical data, and it gives them good insight of what happened before. And yeah, one thing here, daily review process shortened to 15 minutes. So the guy who's called, I think, a water loss manager, right? So he was, guess how much time he was spending a day to putting these reports and getting all this data together. 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours. It's just like almost the whole day. One guy is sitting there and trying to get together all these reports, all these Excel spreadsheets, like all this data, having, tens or hundreds calls to get this, all this data together. Now he is just, in the morning, he's having his cup of coffee and, watching the report. Isn't that great? So these guys actually saved in 2016 in excess of like $500,000 on optimizing the process and finding the leaks. So great fact about them is they actually found a big leak. I'm not sure, like in the first week after the integration or like in 2 weeks after the integration. And this leak, they show this in the video, and this leak looks like a small stream going through the forest. And the forest looks like nobody would go there with the microphone. And I would never realize that it is actually a leak. I would think it's just a small river in the forest. So they saved a lot of money finding this leak. So great quote from Carol Alexander, GIS manager from WHUD. They are now spending more time finding leaks and managing stuff rather than managing the data. And that's exactly what we want you to do. So a bit more detail display. So this is, again, operations dashboard they use. And as I described before, they have this district metered area. So basically the zones. Some of the zones are in green, some of the zones are in red. And this is just the KPIs they calculate. And each zone has several flow meters on the boundaries. So the flow meters are, blue diamonds here. So they actually know the flow into each zone, and they know the flow out for each zone. And they just calculate the delta. And if the delta goes over a certain limit, it's going to be highlighted in yellow, orange, or red. And then they're going to deal with that. And another nice thing here is you can see that they're actually calculating total cost of water losses per day. So they're on the left, a red number, 4,000 something dollars they're losing per day on water leaks. And they're calculating this parameter in real time. So great example. I hope you got excited about these guys. I am. I just want to give you an insight on where we're going now, to talk about the future. But this is really nearest future, because we are aiming to release PI Integrator for Esri ArcGIS in 2017 later this month. So somewhere like end of October, I guess, we're getting this release, so we can talk about this like present future. Okay, so Elizabeth and the developers team were concentrating on the 5 facets of this pentagon, for last several months, and I'm going to cover each of them in more detail as we go. So first and foremost, architecture. We actually simplified the architecture of the solution. We used to have two components within kind of one integrator. We used to have application server as well as data relay. And now we are merging this into one single executable and one installation. So you no longer need to install it on different servers and install it 2 times. So we also got rid of dependency on Microsoft IIS because we are running now the self-hosted web service as we do for other integrator suite of products. So architecture is important, but I think the biggest focus for this release was so-called time-enabled maps. What it means, well, in ArcGIS, you can create so-called time-enabled feature layer. I think it's version 10.3 and on, if I'm not mistaken. And you can actually access to PI data from this time-enabled feature layer. And it means that you actually are not storing this data in ArcGIS. You're querying directly to the PI system. And this gives you tremendous opportunity just to have historical data. You can replay your data. So you can view your data replayed on the map, and you save all the history. So this was a long demanded feature. And yeah, actually you can have many usages of those, and I just want to reveal a couple of insights for you. So if you have alarms on the map, you can actually go and click on each of them and see the historical context for the data which is associated with this alarm. So it helps you understanding the context of alarm better. You can validate and compare asset routes. So, well, you realize that your mobile crew just went on site 1 hour later than the estimated time of arrival. So what happened? You can go and track why did they change the route from the optimal? Were they out of gas, or did they just made their way to grocery shopping for a donut or something? So you can go and validate and compare their route. And talking about incidents which are kind of bigger than donut incident, you can go and see what led to this incident. You can replay the situation from the beginning or before. You can actually see what was the root cause for that. And yeah, you can just, you'll have indefinite possibilities for investigation. Evaluating conditions across various regions. So it wasn't the case while you had to integrate your GIS with different SCADA systems point to point. But now if you integrate all your SCADA systems and all the sources of information to PI system, you can actually get the big map, and all the data from the PI system will be on this map, and you can see all your assets on the map with real-time data from the headquarters somewhere, I don't know, in Paris, and having operations all over the world. So last but not least, combining the data sources and tools, whether it's, as I mentioned, terrain data or real-time weather data, or any other thing any other data you can think of. So this is something like we are dreaming of the ubiquitous situational awareness. So I hope it gives you some inspiration. So yeah, being inspired, I just want to give you a short demo of how we are configuring the time-enabled feature layers and in the newest release. And it is actually much shorter than the previous demo because it just takes less time. So here we have AF model with 45,000 wells. It's even more than the number of process book displays Noble got rid of. So each well has static longitude and latitude, and so we want to get them properly on the map. And as well, they have a pressure, production, and temperature. These are the real-time parameters, so we want those to be updated in real time. So let's have a quick overview of the structure. Yeah, we just go and see how many wells we've got there. Like, there are many of them. And yeah, surprisingly, we're creating a new layer here, giving it a name and a description, and make sure this check here, time-enabled feature layer, is enabled or checked. And you have another option, which is the previous option, to go through GeoEvent server as well. You can use both options. And of course, you need to log into your portal or ArcGIS Online, so it stores your content and provides the authentication for you. Next step, as usual, go to AF, select the database, select the right template, get all the wells from there, selecting the right attributes, mapping them to X and Y, give it unique key, and continue to the last step. Make sure the geometry type is point, so it's the well we map. We show it as a point on the map, and that's it. I mean, that's really it. We don't need to go and publish that, and we don't need to go and configure GeoEvent server. We're just waiting a couple of seconds for it to initialize, and now we'll be ready. Yeah, now we are ready to go to the map and see all these wells on the map. So I mentioned we have 45,000 wells here, so it takes a couple of seconds to get them loaded. I'm not sure, have we got all the wells from the United States here? Yeah, and I've got kind of pre-configured visualization done on the same stuff, so I'm switching the tabs here. So these wells are now color-coded, so based on production. The higher production is the red one. The lower production is the yellow one. And we can go and zoom and check if all the data exist for each of the well, including the real-time data like pressure and temperature, and the longitude and latitude and everything, which is static data for in case of wells. One slight change here you can notice, there is a time slider on the bottom. So you can actually replay events. You can go with the small steps like half an hour or like 5 minutes or something like that. You can rewind it back. You can skip it forward. So all you want to do with this replay feature, and all this data is stored in the PI system and queried on the fly for you. So this gives you a tremendous opportunity to do all this stuff I described on the previous slide. This is the first example. The second example is about the trucks. So in this case, we are storing their position, the longitude and latitude, in PI tags, basically, and we either simulate their movement or we just have historical data behind this. Well, anyways, this data is sourced from the PI system in real time, and you can actually see when we click replay them moving. Yeah, so let's zoom a bit so we can see them all, and click replay. There's something strange happening with this flickering, but I hope you can clearly see that these guys are moving here. Yeah, now it's good. So yeah, this gives you an opportunity to solve the donut problem or something more specific and more critical. The next thing I want to highlight is augmented feature layer, and this is how we call joining operational data with existing ArcGIS layers. So I'm stressing existing because many of our customers has been using ArcGIS for years, and it became a system of record for them to store all their asset information. So basically, they use the GIS as enterprise asset management system sometimes. And of course, all the spatial data is stored there if it's static. So sometimes it just doesn't make sense to get all of this data to AF, to the PI system, right? So we just wanted to find a way to marry the operational data from the PI system with the existing layers which you have in ArcGIS Online. And it all goes through the same process. The only difference is that you can actually just copy and paste the URL for this layer you've got in ArcGIS and paste it to the integrator so we can parse it and marry it with the data from the PI system. I have a quick example for you here. So what we have here is a pipeline, and we can bring a pop-up, and each pipe segment has a length, diameter, and all this static stuff, positioning and everything here just on this layer. It doesn't have any real-time data, no real-time data whatsoever. At the same time, we have an AF model with all this pipeline segment model here, and real-time parameters like downstream pressure, upstream pressure, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, no surprise, we're creating a feature layer for that. We're creating a layer in the integrator for that, giving it a name and a surname, description. Logging into the portal, selecting the right template, selecting only the attributes we need for that. So only the real-time ones, volume flow, upstream pressure, downstream pressure, MAOP. And we need to select the name as a key, so we'll be able to join on that with ArcGIS data later on. So now we have this layer. I'm not showing to you, but I'm just copying that URL from there, and I'm pasting it here. And then I'm just going to go and copy this name of the name and copy it here so we can join on the names both in PI system and ArcGIS. So it's now ready to work, and it's already initialized. So I can go and see this new layer was created, which is called pipeline operational, with all these parameters which were previously in ArcGIS and also combined with the data, with the real-time data from the PI system. So including downstream pressure and like diameters and everything. Okay, so we focused a lot on removing the obstacles for you to use the integrator, and one of them was manageability, because when you actually play a lot with the integrator, you create a lot of integrations. Sometimes you're changing, your assets are changing, so you don't need this layer anymore. And it used to just to, all the things created under the hood, it actually creates like lots of stuff like definitions, inputs, outputs in your GeoEvent server, and that kind of stuff. So it just pile up, and eventually you will need to go and tidy up manually. So we added the wizard that would help you just delete all this stuff automatically for you when you just go and click and want to delete that. So you don't need to log into ArcGIS Online or portal anymore. Neither you need to log to GeoEvent server to manually delete all the data. Just go and select the layer you don't need, and just click this red cross on the right. And what it gives you, the integrator goes and it finds all the data, like in this case, feature service associated with this layer, and it finds all the services, inputs and outputs and definitions in GeoEvent server environment, and it will just summarize that for you, and when you press delete, it's all gone. So I hope it helps your administrators a lot when there's like many things changing. Last but not least, this is quite small but powerful thing, detection of new assets. So you can basically read it here, automatically detect new AF assets and add them to relevant layers. So imagine I am administrator of this system, and I've got 45,000 wells. I can think maybe, the rate we're drilling the wells, maybe it's like several per day. And even though it takes me just 2 minutes to configure this, integration between two systems, do I actually need to do it every time I've got a new well? For sure not. We got this automated for you, and it just works. I mean, if you create a new well in AF, and it's using the same template which we propagated to the feature service before, it will just update the feature service with this new well. Same for deletion. But this is actually the work we are currently, the job we are currently working on. We've got more to tell to you, and I just want to switch maybe to the future, what we're expecting in the next releases, and I'm welcoming on stage Elizabeth Amaral. Do you want me to stay here?
Sure. Yeah, so Vadim did a really good job of telling you what we've been working on for the past 1.5 years, 2 years, and that we're going to be delivering, as he said, at the end of the month. But I also want to talk a little bit about what we have coming after that. So first I'm going to highlight the 2 things that we have in research. We have 2 big initiatives here. So visualization. The OSIsoft visualization team is working really closely with Esri to see the other areas and client applications that we can provide value for. So those of you familiar with the product, and you already saw the operations dashboard integration with CoreSight or PI Vision, there's a new operations dashboard coming out that's web-based, and so we're working with that team, trying to figure out how we can have a better integration story there when that's released with their next version. And then also putting Esri maps in PI Vision. This has been asked for time and time again, and it's something that we're working on with them. We really want to give PI users the ability to do simple mapping as well, in addition to allowing the ArcGIS users the access back to the PI system data. And then beyond that, we're also looking, we've heard the need potentially for users with web app builder applications in ArcGIS. They also want to have similar access back to PI CoreSight and PI Vision so that they can have that real-time and historical data trending, certain things that you just can't do in the ArcGIS app. And finally, a lot of people have PI system notifications. They also do some types of alerting in ArcGIS, but we really, for operational data, have a much more robust system of notifications. And some users have asked us to be able to have that information in their ArcGIS applications more readily available. And so that's something else that we're looking into. The second initiative that we're researching is how to better enable our customers to go beyond just the mapping capabilities and what you might initially think of for your use cases, and really take advantage of the spatial analytics that ArcGIS provides. And so this would be enabling a lot of their newer technology, like the spatiotemporal big data store, as well as their geoanalytics server, and their really, really powerful business intelligence application Insights for ArcGIS. If you haven't checked that out yet, I really recommend it. There are a lot of really good demos from their UC, and I'm really excited to see how we can take that forward with them. And now we'll go a little bit deeper into the things that we're working on for next year. So there's 2 areas that I want to highlight here. The first being that our development team, as soon as we get this release out and we're ready to go, we're going to jump immediately into our initiative to kind of migrate the functionality that we have with Esri ArcGIS to the integrator framework that our other integrators are currently operating on, which is our business analytics, SAP HANA, and Microsoft Azure integrators. And we're doing this for 4 main reasons. The first being having a standardized UI. We really want to provide our customers with a standard interface for the whole product line. It just offers a much easier experience. You only need to know one tool, and that's a lot of the main reason. But it also gives us a lot of really nice functionality too. So the second thing is the ability to have much more flexible data sets. So as you've seen in the demos today, the data sets that you publish currently from the PI system to ArcGIS must be based off of the same element template in AF. Unfortunately, this is a little bit restricting. The integrator framework has this concept of shaping. So this actually allows you to pull data from anywhere in your AF hierarchy. And you can really just filter a lot more easily. You don't have to take everything off the template. You can take just what you need. You can also get information from parents or children elements. And you can join, if you have similar assets that aren't necessarily represented on the same template in AF, but they're similar enough that you would like them published in the same layer, then you'll be able to do this with that shaping concept. Another thing that we'll get out of this, if you are familiar with those other integrators, is that they have this idea of asset views and as well as event frame views. So this is something that we also want to be able to provide you access to those events that you've already stored in the PI system and have some type of time context with them already, as well as probably calculations that occurred during that time, give you access to those in ArcGIS. So we're still trying to figure out a little bit how that's going to work in ArcGIS. So if you have some ideas of how you could use that, I'd really love if you reach out to me and we can talk about that. And finally, the other integrators, also part of their framework and some of the work that they've been doing for their upcoming releases is really to enable much larger scale using a distributed processing network. So you might have some storage processed, you'll have the actual meat of the integrator service, and then you'll have the front end. And depending on what you need, depending on the size of the system that you're working with, you can expand that as required. And the second initiative that I also want to talk to you about for what we're planning for next year is around enterprise asset management systems. And while ArcGIS may not be a true EAM, a lot of our customers do use it as the master source for their spatial information about their assets. And we want to see how we can play a better role in managing and keeping those systems in sync. So if you have a new piece of equipment come online or a new asset come online in ArcGIS, have that get propagated back to the PI system automatically for you and link up with the operational data that you have for that. Similarly, if you want to take something offline for an extended period of time, you might remove it from your AF system, or you might change the status, something like that, and have that propagate back to your ArcGIS system and the layers that you've published, so that there's a nice cycle that you don't have to manage yourself, but your enterprise systems can do it for you. So I just want to end coming back to the quote from the GIS manager at White House Utility District. Like Vadim said, this is really the key to why we have developed the integrators, the PI integrators for you. We just want you to spend a lot less time doing things that you shouldn't have to be doing, getting the value out of the product and the system and the rest of the systems that you've put a lot of money and effort into. So thank you very much for joining us today. Our contact information will also stick around, and if you have any questions, we are here to answer them. Yes, please wait for the mic.
I saw in the demo also the web builder. There were also some widgets.
What was that?
In the web builder. Was in the demo.
We did not demo the moving vehicles. That was in Web App Builder.
Yeah.
But I talked about it because we are trying to decide if there's enough of a need to develop widgets to PI Vision in Web App Builder, because currently that functionality is not available. You would have to go outside the application to look at those trends.
Does OSIsoft not already have widgets for the web?
We have widgets for the current operations dashboard that allow you to do that and access both applications at the same time, but we don't have that in Web App Builder at this time. Anyone else? Great. Thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate your time.